Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton, Geoffrey, and Adam Ross here, as we usually are, or we try to be on a lot of Tuesdays. Adam, it's been crazy. We're not in our normal setup today. You are actually in the same location, different parts of the building. We just finished filming some stuff for TSN here, and the show must go on. So here we are.
Yeah, so to those who are joining us tonight, and it's going to be a great show. Josh Dottie, JR Fitzpatrick, Ryan Kimball, and Jennifer Hatch is going to be on towards the end of the show, Clinton. So we apologize for getting this together as late as we did to our guests, but yeah, we were kind of triple tasking today. So we just got done and set up in time to come to you now. And I'm not in the confines of my couch. I have no dog around me. I'm almost not sure how I should be acting.
Well, Spencer's a bit under the weather, so we want to send our best out to him. It looks like I may have to reconnect here shortly.
Yeah, you're all over the place. So, really, folks, it was a fantastic weekend of racing. 4 nights of racing on dirt, Oshweek Friday, Merrittville and Humberstone Saturday, Humberstone on Sunday, Merrittville on Monday night. Of course, if you're an asphalt fan, lots to watch. There was Delaware Speedway Friday night, and of course, Saturday you had Flamborough, Sunset, Peterborough. Our attention was in Sauble Speedway for the APC event. And then, of course, Sunday, the Beat the Heat 150, which became a Beat the Heat 100. But there was some fantastic racing. And as is often the case, there was some drama. There was some drama in the APC show. Josh Dottie got his first career win. Before that happened, there were some fireworks with JR Fitzpatrick and Ryan Kimball. And as we try to do, we invited all three of them to come on the show tonight. They all three accepted our invitations. The emails have been sent out. So we're going to look forward to chatting with Josh Dottie about his win. And then we're going to talk to JR Fitzpatrick and Ryan Kimball about a polarizing moment. And Clinton, I believe we have you back, where some people say JR took out the leader. Some people say the leader came down and caused himself to spin out. Ultimately, race director Trevor Hambley decided after Ryan Kimball spun out while leading that JR Fitzpatrick was an involved car. JR went to the back, and so be it. But we're going to talk to all three players in that, Clinton. Then probably you and I will share some thoughts about the incident. But that's the show tonight. I'm excited for it. It's as basic as it gets. Let's just chat to some people who were involved.
Yeah, first up, let's bring in Josh Dottie, the winner. And, to talk about Josh Dottie, class act, awesome runner. And since we've been doing the APC series the last 3 years, Dottie could not buy any luck, man. Welcome to the show, Josh. It's good to see you finally put all the parts together to finally get the run you deserve. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. Definitely ecstatic. I don't know that it's sunk in yet. That was the biggest win of my career for sure. The boys have worked very hard to run up front and be competitive, and it was very overwhelming, especially with everyone that we had there Saturday night.
Josh, it's so exciting to see the relationship that you've built this year with Ridgeline. We talked about it in the off season. They had you at car shows. They were using you as a marketing tool, and for you to turn that around and bring them to the racetrack and treat them with a victory. While you were celebrating in Victory Lane, I was kind of standing back with a lot of your guests, and I can tell you they were so genuinely excited to be a part of your big moment. So congratulations. I hope you realize what a big deal it was.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we piece that, like that Ridgeline thing. If anyone follows along in my racing, I do all my own self-marketing. I chase the sponsorship. I work very hard at it, and we've developed this relationship with Ridgeline Lubricants, and it's been outstanding. And to be able to have everyone there, like they brought over 260 guests, and I think we brought another 50 or 60 with us, and definitely unbelievable. A very surreal moment to have everyone there. When we got stopped there, I believe Tom Gibbons was getting towed off the track. I could hear everyone in turn one cheering. So it was a nice little confidence boost through the race. Like, okay, we're here. Let's stomp on the pedal and get up there. So definitely super pumped to have everyone involved there.
Josh, let's talk about how you keep your own mentality together in situations like you've been faced for the past year. You've got a good car, you've got a good crew. Now you've got good sponsors. You need to start putting these finishes on that everybody expects you to get, and you should be getting when you look at your team on paper. How do you deal with that when things aren't going the way they should be? when the parts just aren't adding up to the sum you should be getting?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, my biggest thing is I just try to be positive. I deal with people on a day-to-day basis. We have over 60 employees. You're always dealing with personnels, and what we've got in the last couple of years with the crew is I said I don't really care as much about the stopwatch. Let's get the fuel in the car. There's lots of times you see a guy bust off a lap time. I want to be a consistent car. I want to be there at the end. And Saturday played into my favor. That's exactly where I want to be when things are going to happen. I want to be running that third, fifth, just be in the hunt. I don't need to be the fastest car. I just need to be there to capitalize. I mean, obviously, as a race car driver, you want to be the fastest guy and you want to be out front. But sometimes that's not in the cards. It's hard to get these things fine-tuned to that point every week in and week out when you're traveling. So, yeah, we just took advantage of misfortune for the 29, the 84, and we were competitive to be up there. We're knocking on their back bumper lap in and lap out, and we deserve to run up front and show everyone what we're capable of.
If you could pick a percentage, Josh, because when you were running in third, you had a lot more car than the two leaders because they were messing around. How hard would you say you were running the car? 60%, 70%?
I was probably running at about 80. I knew I had a little bit left in me, but my biggest thing at that point when I seen JR kind of setting up Ryan, and Ryan was kind of trying to protect the bottom and then the high side and the bottom, I was more or less just trying to keep my car as square as I could. The biggest thing I kept telling myself was drive it straight in, make your marks through the center of the corner, and drive it straight off the wall. And I just had this conversation with Joe Chisholm Jr., which is my spotter, about a half an hour ago, and he says, your car was straight in and straight out. And I said, that's all I focused on the last 30 laps. I knew JR was quick, and he seemed he could drive off the corner, but I thought if I could at least drive it straight in, straight off, I might have a bit of tire left if we have a last lap dash. So that's basically all I focused on, was just keeping the car square.
Josh, we're going to have those two drivers on here to talk about the incident. Did you see it? And do you have an opinion on maybe who's right or wrong in the 84-29 debate?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, JR was running hard. He wanted it. He was inside, outside of Ryan. He was doing everything that he possibly could have done. And Ryan was the leader, and he's just like me. He never won an APC race. So he's fighting for everything that he could have to protect the bottom, protect the high side. And you got the 84 stomping. I mean, he's won 3 races in the series this year alone. I mean, you're doing everything you can to hold him up. It happens in a hurry. To me, it seemed like the 29 came down, but also JR was running hard. He drove it in there too. And I think it was just a collaborate on both ends. And I mean, it worked out in our favor. We weren't disappointed by any means.
Well, Josh, because you've lost races like that, right? You've been in position to win and have them taken away, so you deserve to be where you were. And I thought, well, why don't we talk about the wreck with Josh? Because when it comes to JR and Ryan, we're going to want their opinion. That nobody needs to hear our side of the story at that point. But I really thought JR needed to be put to the back, even though I thought Ryan Kimball spent much of the race when he was fighting off JR doing a masterful job. At those last few laps, I thought it was getting to be a bit too much. In my opinion, JR should have moved him, right? Like he would have been better off moving him, passing him, driving away, because it was clear Ryan was going to do everything he needed to do to keep JR back. And what resulted was kind of wasn't a desperation move because JR had a lot of time left, but he committed to something and Ryan committed to something and it didn't jive. So I don't think it was blatant ugly by JR Fitzpatrick, but I think he has to go to the back because the leader has special rights on the racetrack. Of all drivers on the racetrack, that leader has more rights to run different lines than anybody else. That's my full take. Like it or not, both those drivers are involved cars, in my opinion. But I think if the same situation happened again, JR needs to square him up on the back bumper, drive him too deep into turn 1 after trying clean for 20, 25 laps, and just move him up the racetrack and drive away. Am I way off base, Josh?
I don't think so. I mean, I grew up as a Sauble Speedway short track racer, and anytime you were an involved car, you got sent to the back. That's how I was brought up racing. I mean, I ran against Jason Parker, Tom Gibbons, all those guys, Scott McTeer, Marvin Freiberg. They all ran hard, and if we dumped someone, we were all going to the back. So I mean, that's the way I would have seen it, how it should have played out. Something that's kind of funny with us running third is I knew that I had to keep pressure on JR to make that happen. You know, so 30 laps to go, I felt like I had a lot of car, and I'm like, okay, we got to get going here. Like, Kyle's knocking on my door, and Kyle was quick, but Ryan and JR, whatever they're doing is holding us up. So I kept trying to add pressure to JR. So I'm sure JR's spotter was saying inside looking, you know, and then obviously he felt me because I was on his bumper for 4 or 5 laps before. One time he tried to do a crossover. He kind of did a late entry and drove it down to the bottom while I stuck my nose in there because he left the door open. So then that got him sideways. So that could have anticipated JR to be like, okay, now I really got to get going. They're really like, they're on me. So I knew with the last 30 laps, something was going to pan out. I didn't know exactly how I was going to go, but I knew that I needed to keep pressure on JR to keep pressure on Kimball. So that's kind of what my plan was, just to be smooth and just be there, because if those two get together, even if they don't spin and they get up the track, at least I'm in position that I can hopefully capitalize and take the lead. So that's kind of what I worked on for the last, say, 25 laps.
Clint, what's your take?
I mean, I've talked to a lot of the different racers, and of course, I spent the weekend with my phone in my hand, showing it to as many of the drivers and teams that we know we cross paths with, and it was almost a 50-50 split. You know, some folks say that Kimball, as the leader, gets a special right. That was the one thing you said, Adam. You know, you got to get around the leader clean, even if he is blocking. He's got that track to use up front. But then you talk to some other veterans and say, well, Kimball did come down. It could be very easily be construed, and I don't want to look like I'm trying to weasel out of an answer, but it could be very easily be construed as just two guys going for the same spot. I think Josh said it right. Kimball was trying to block, and JR was throwing it in harder, and Kimball thinks I'm coming down, doesn't realize he's got it in there. I mean, I take it back to the wreck we seen on the dirt a couple weeks ago between, you know, Kretschka and Martin. Martin figured he had him cleared, but Kretschka drove it in a lot deeper than most other guys would at that point, and most other guys, Liam would have been clear, but they got together. And I think in a situation like that, the last thing JR wants to do is spin him and go to the back. And you guys were talking about that during the broadcast. You know, he's got to be careful because a second place run in this is a way better situation in the points deal than it is trying to go for that win and ending up in the back where he did. So it's a tough deal. I can't wait to hear what they've got to say coming up here in about 20 minutes.
It'll be fun. Josh, let's talk about Sunday. You go back to the beach on Sunday, and in slightly different circumstances, pick up another win. Talk about that performance.
Yeah, so we've been doing a good job of advertising Ridgeline Lubricants brand, and obviously I got the second car, and I've sold sponsorship on both. So I knew the flat roof car is going to be running a lot more at the tail end of the season. So right from day one when we were putting our schedule together, we thought it'd be a good opportunity to bring the flat roof out for the Beat the Heat 100. I'm pretty confident in this car. I obviously have a lot of pride in it. I helped build it, and we went out one opening night at Sunset with it. And we were actually on, it was a pretty relaxed weekend work-wise, but we were still working really hard. Like Saturday before we got there with the green car, we were on scale pads with the yellow car, working all morning, trying to get it geared up for Sunday. We took it out. It wasn't exactly the car I wanted it to be, but we waited out the 54. Danny got around us at the start of the race and led majority of the race, led like 90 laps, and his car started going away and ours stayed consistently. It was tight. It was on the tighter side, but it stayed more consistent, and we got our chance to move him out of the way with 10 to go, and we moved him and brought her home and won the second race of the weekend. And a pretty historical weekend, pretty emotional weekend for our team. We've worked very hard. But yeah, I just trying to let it sink in that you might not ever get a weekend like that again in your career. I mean, those are the two biggest races that I've won in my career to date. I've won some big races, but I mean, those are the two biggest, and I did it all at my home track in front of so many people that surround our programs, and it was outstanding.
Does it concern you at all, Josh, that winning those two races, and tell me if I'm wrong, don't feel a whole lot different? Like the way you go about a race day and the way you execute a race day and win those big races is pretty much what you've been doing all along. It was just a matter of a set of circumstances where you had the confidence or the situation to go and get it done. Does it frustrate you that you hadn't done it sooner, or did this feel a whole lot different to you?
It was frustrating for sure. I mean, obviously, everyone that follows us know that ball joint breaking at Sunset, that broke my heart last year. That was like, it was like I was lined up at my funeral. People were coming to the trailer with tears in their eyes. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's like, well, don't say anything at all, because I'm lost for words too, you know? I just wanted, I want to be competitive. I'm one of those hands-on drivers. I do a lot of the stuff myself. I mean, obviously McCalls are a big part of our program too, but I want to know what we're doing, why we're doing it that way. On top of raising 2 kids and working a full-time job and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know that it's sunk in 100%. I still getting messages and calls, and I just can't believe that the weekend, like Saturday, was a complete blur. It was so electric having as many people as we did there. Like I couldn't have scripted it any better for Saturday with the amount of people that showed up. And Sunday to come back with a second car and say, you know what, like I had a lot of people, well, why aren't you running the green car? And I said, well, our commitment was always to run the yellow car on the Sunday, right from when we started the schedule. And then we come out and we put another a stamp on it, like, hey, we're here and we can win these big races with both cars. It was outstanding. It was amazing.
Josh, how does this change you're going into the next few races coming up, ahead? We always talk about how confidence will change a driver. Do you feel like you're going to walk in with a bit more skip in your step and your shoulders a bit broader when you show up to the next event, or is it just business as usual now?
I think it's business as usual. I try to be as modest as I can. I mean, obviously, yeah, those are 2 big wins, but I kind of had the same game plan. I've always had the same goal rate from my racing, because I know how hard these races are to win, not only with APC, but a regular points night at, say, Sunset, Flamborough, a Triple Crown event, a Velocity. They're hard to come by. Everyone in this division is very competitive. My goal every summer is to go out and at least try and win 1 race. And we've won 3 this year, and we still got lots of racing left. I mean, it can be a very humbling sport. It can be a very frustrating sport. I didn't think that my first APC win was going to come at Sauble. I thought I had chances to win, and I never, for some reason, thought that it would be at Sauble, even though it's my home track. The Civic Long Weekend has never been a friend of mine when I raced there. 1 year I wrecked, my pro late and my limited late with like 9 laps to go in each race. Blown up. I've just like never had the luck at home on the Civic Long Weekend. And then hopefully that changed this past weekend, winning those 2 big races. But I think you go in, you just kind of take the day as it comes to you, and just get back to business and take every race event like you're going for the win. That's what we come out to do. We don't come to finish second by any means. No one does. We all want to win. So we just come out with the game plan that we're going for that checkered flag.
Worked for you this weekend. Josh, we'll let you get back to your car prep. Thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on what was really a special night, Saturday night.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, and thanks for everything that you do for the sport, and the coverage is amazing. And yeah, keep it up.
Thanks, Josh. We appreciate you joining us. One of the good guys, Adam, who just was due, it seemed like from day one, we're wondering when is Dottie going to pull one off. And as it got longer and longer, and he brought up, broken ball joint, pretty much had them covered at Sunset till the ball joint lets go. And those are just, like he said, heartbreaking nights. But good to see him get 2 in a row. And one of the good guys going to head back there.
No, I agree with you. And I thought his description of the events was excellent. And I'm glad we got it sort of out of the way, because our next guest is on the line now. And as I say, I didn't want any surprises, Clint. I want you to give your view. I gave my view. And let's bring Ryan Kimball on, who has led a lot of laps this year and looked great. And Ryan, were you watching from the top of the show?
I was.
So,
thanks, guys.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. I didn't want there to be any secrets or surprises. I thought you did a phenomenal job most of the time leading. Those restarts were fantastic. The balls to restart on the outside and drive that way were fantastic. I thought the last 3 to 5 laps where you had the lead there, I felt it was really slipping away from me. It looked like the car was just getting too tough to handle, but I could be way off. Talk about your night. Talk about the incident.
No, we unloaded pretty good. We didn't quite have the same car as we were hoping. We seem to be pretty good at Sauble. We dominated in 2019 or 18 and 19, 2 years in a row. Led up to lap 86 or 91 and whatnot, and cut a flat tire. So we were top of the charts in the practice board there, and we race trim. We were a little tight, but you know what? We were in the right spot, leading and whatnot, and I knew JR coming through the field, I heard was going to be pretty quick, but the car didn't change. Those last 10 laps or 15 laps, what I did was I just tried to run the bottom just to mix it up, because I knew that he knew what I was doing every time, trying to go to the wall. And when we were trying to catch that lap car, I was just trying to change it up because I expected the bump and run. So I wanted to maybe stay a little bit lower and, maybe just get it driven in the back bumper and whatnot. But like I said, it's an extreme disappointment. It is what it is. It was hard for the guys on the long drive home. We were really looking for that first win to get the cam off the back there, but we'll move on to Sunset and see what we got there.
Ryan, the question was, what did you cut down? Did you get dumped? What's your opinion on that from the situation? And secondly, did you get a chance to talk to JR after the race?
No, JR definitely didn't come down. And you know what? I wasn't going to go down there and screaming and whatnot, and it wasn't going to get me anywhere. I mean, his wife came down screaming at me and whatnot. But it is what it is. You know what? She's frustrated for her husband. I can see it. Just, told my guys and myself, we all just stayed down there, and we'll maybe deal with it next week. And like I said, he's running for a championship. We're not. We're trying to go for wins. So I'm definitely not going to make his job any easier going into these next 3 races. So he's got something to think about there. I'm not going to give him any room. I'll race him as clean as I will, or I'll decide that on the track and whatnot. Right? He didn't want to come down and chat with me. Did I cut him down? I don't know. Maybe a little. I didn't think he was there at the time. Was I nervous for him to get to the bottom of me? Honestly, not, because the way I looked at it was we restarted probably 4 to 5 times. I picked the outside. I gave him the bottom. He couldn't clear me. I honestly, I wasn't worried if he got to the bottom of me, because I knew, even with us going toe to toe, like how much more could he have got to me with those restarts? I mean, at one point we were going past the flag stand. We were, nose to nose. So I definitely wasn't worried. I needed the high side. I could pinch him down a little bit and have that drive off. So with 13 to go, I really wasn't worried. I was more or less, if I'm going to get moved up the track, and I just would have had to maybe situate the car and whatnot just to keep it a little bit low there. But he just left reared me. So that's all there was to it. So we're a little frustrated, but we'll get through it.
And as you said, the restarts were impressive, and your ability to position your car to keep JR from being able to get a run, Ryan. You did a great job. It was a bummer to see it end the way it did, but that's what happened. So as the season moves on, what do we have left? Sunset, Sauble, and Delaware. Where do you think is your best opportunity to go out there and seal a deal? You're going to have a good starting spot as long as you qualify in the top 10. So what race do you look at on the calendar and think, okay, here's where we can get this done?
Oh, well, I'd like to say Sauble, but I mean, that would be 3 races that it got taken away from us there, So, we're gonna try to prepare a good car for Sunset. We'll just go one race at a time. Delaware is definitely my weakest track. We definitely don't do very well there. Struggling with the setup there, and / myself, I just don't seem to get around there. It's one of those tracks. It's like a finesse. You can really lose a lot of time if you just don't get in and get through the center and get off very well, right? So, if I can't get around there as well as I can't give the feedback to the guys for us to get it dialed in. So I think we've won a lot of races at Sunset. We're going to go with our backup car that we just continue to bring speed to. We had our brand new McCall car there, and we struggled with it. And like I said, I appreciate all the help the McCall's guys are doing. We don't have a big team and whatnot, but we've sort of backed away a little bit and decided to do our own thing for the last 2 races with our old Fury car, and it's proven itself. We went to Flamborough with it, and top of the charts there, and we had good race speed. I ended up losing brakes. Would I have been able to contend with Steckley? I'm not really sure. I think we were a good second, third place car, but the car was good. And Sauble, we had speed too, so that's what we're focused on, and just bringing speed, and we'll just fine tune the car as there. And like I said, I can't say enough about my guys. Like Graham T. It's like I got a small crew, 4 or 5, and these guys they work really hard. So I'm super happy to have them.
Ryan, are you carrying a lot of confidence now, or is it frustration? You go into these races, you've led them, you've been fast, you run up front, like Adam mentioned, for a lot part. It's not like you start in the pole and hang on for 10 laps. You're there 70, 60, 80 laps into these races. That's got to provide some confidence to you in hopes that they got to be just around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, this series has definitely taught me you're definitely not owed. Like even those 2 years that we dominated at Sauble, I mean, this series is the best of the best. And I didn't expect to drive away at Sauble. I mean, you got Stottie that's just absolutely running phenomenal this year, and JR, with the new car, struggled for the past couple of years. I mean, they've prepared a series that are so close. Look at the times in practice and look at qualifying. I mean, nobody's really capable of driving away. So for someone to see that, I mean, I expected somebody to be knocking on my door for 90 something laps. So we keep looking at the positives. I'm happy that we're bringing speed to the track. So we're gonna hopefully do that at Sunset, and I've got lots of poles there and lots of wins there. So we'll see if we can get that first win there, right? So Sunset has definitely not been our good track for the APC Tour. We've always been struggling around 13th, 14th, 15th. So we'll see if we can change that.
You never know what can happen, Ryan. I appreciate you coming on. Like we say, how many ways can a person say they're frustrated? But we wanted to talk to you and get your side, and we appreciate you coming and chatting with us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good luck, Ryan. We'll follow your story for the rest of the APC series this summer. Ryan Kimball, he's been fast. Adam had some good runs so far. Just trying to put the finish on it now.
Yeah, and to talk to him, again, Peterborough to me was very similar to what we saw here at Sauble, and to talk to him after the race, after things went down, he's got an understanding of what went on. He's got an understanding of what he was trying to accomplish, and it just didn't work out. So
let's talk about a couple things. We'll wait. I was going to say we're hopeful JR Fitzpatrick will join us, and just like that, magically he appears up on the screen. So we'll talk to JR. We got a couple other situations we wanted to discuss, and we'll be talking about them here as soon as we finish with JR Fitzpatrick. We'll bring on JR now, point leader for the APC series. JR, interesting weekend for you. Fast as usual, not the finish you wanted, and can we call it drama around the weekend? What's going on in your world?
Oh, first off, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, first off, also, I mean, I don't think anybody in the pits was at all disappointed to see Josh Dottie win that race. I mean, very well deserved, and great family, and I think everybody there was pretty pumped to see Josh win that race. And for us, I mean, my car was just like every race this year, fellas. It was on rails. I mean, in practice, we were strong. We were on old tires. We were second, and we qualified third. And then as soon as the green flag dropped, man, that thing was hooked up and rocking to the front. And been pretty happy with having these fast cars every week. Definitely makes my job pretty easy.
No, you look good out there. What we watched was real similar to what we saw at Peterborough, with Ryan Kimball leading the race. And to your credit, JR, and to Ryan's, you raced hard and clean, and he put himself in a good spot to defend your moves. And then along comes an opportunity in turn number 1. Walk us through it and what happened from your view.
I mean, first off, I'm not going to be on here bashing Ryan, because Ryan and I have been really getting one of the only guys in the tour that have been getting along for years. Really, I don't even know how long. A few years anyway. And ever since starting Autumn Colors last year, we just had some run-ins. And the Sobel deal, I mean, we were just so much faster. I mean, like when I was behind him, I was like 3/4 throttle. And you're right, Adam. He was doing a great job holding the bottom. It's just what's frustrating for me is, like, say on the restarts when you're underneath of him and you do get wheel to wheel or up to his door or whatnot, like he's just hits you down the straightaway and he pinches you so hard. I mean, like I passed 9 cars, didn't have a mark on my car until I got up to him, and it's just the game of body slamming, and I don't really understand why. And I heard Ryan talk, like he didn't come talk to me, I didn't go talk to him, and the primary reason for that is because I had an official in my pit saying, like, if you leave your pit, you know, there's going to be probably points or something that's going to happen. And I'm like, I'm not going down there to fight. I just want to, because I feel like Ryan and I have that respect with one another that we can literally go into a trailer and be like, just like, what the hell, man, and sort our stuff out. I mean, it sucks for him. He was fast, but it sucks for me because I am going for a championship, like he said. And my plan was just to ride behind him, but I was getting hammered from the back because there's like 5 or 6 guys behind me. And I don't know if you guys remember at Flamborough last year in 2021, the same situation with the 29 car leading, and I was behind them, and we were getting bottled up so much in the center that I ended up getting spun out. So that's in the back of my mind. I'm getting hit from the back, so that's in my mind. I'm literally a lot faster in the 29, but he was doing a good job of protecting the bottom where I couldn't do my big arc out and cut across because he was staying right to the bottom. So was I thinking a bump and run? No, I was not. I was just hoping to ride behind him, but I was getting such good runs that I tried to take advantage, and he kept cutting down. I mean, there was one time I literally locked my front tires up so I didn't hit him, and then he let me go to the top one time, and I went to the top, and he rubbed me up to the fence. So I was frustrated, but I was still just maintaining the thought process of finishing second because the point situation would have been a lot stronger. And I mean, at that point that I dived under and I was there, I mean, at what point do you say, I'm just going to keep letting him do it because he'll just keep doing it at all the races? Because how our invert and how our point structure works is, you know, Ryan can potentially start up front every race if he qualifies top 10, which 3/4 of the time he does because he's a good qualifier. So a lot of variables there. It was rough, no doubt. Was it intentional? Absolutely not. Would I want to talk to Ryan about it? Absolutely. It's just after the race, you can't talk to anybody because the officials don't want anything happening. So they mandate that you stay in your pit. And like I said, it wasn't intentional. It really screwed me more than him because the championship runs like this are hard to keep going. You never know when they could happen again. And everyone has an opportunity every week to go win races.
You got Kyle Steckley only 5 points behind you. This kid's been running good, JR. Does that get you a little bit worried with the way the 22's been coming in this season?
No, I mean, I'd be worried if we haven't shown speed or any potential at all of running strong. But our program's really good right now. It's just I don't have that cushion, right? I don't have that little buffer. Thankfully, I did going into Sauble with this situation, but our team's really strong, man. Again, we're also a small team. We only got 4 or 5 guys as well, and we put a big effort into the car. You know, I went home, worked on the car Sunday and Monday, and got the car all fixed. You know, the body was beat all the hell from it, and I got it all fixed up and did some maintenance, and I'm focused ahead to Sunset. And yeah, I mean, I listen to Ryan. I understand that I have a target on my back with like 2 or 3 guys now, but I mean, man, at what point does it stop? I mean, I don't know. From my side, it's tough. You know what I mean? Like I was there numerous times, locked it up. I just don't know what to do. But in sense of the 22 car, I mean, Kyle's phenomenal. His dad has really raised him right. He's just a super clean driver, very talented, so professional, and man, it's going to come down to the wire. He's a hot shoe.
It'll be fun to watch, JR. And I mean, I've seen this since you were a kid. You've always been a polarizing figure because if you go on social media, which I wouldn't recommend if I were you, people either love you or they hate you. Like you destroyed Ryan Kimball or it was his fault. Does it bother you to play the villain role? Like your humility has come a long way over the years, but still people see you as the young, brash JR Fitzpatrick. Does it bother you to wear that crown?
No, Adam, you know how it goes. I've been dealing with just people just put a stamp on you, right? Oh, rich kid doesn't work for anything, blah blah blah, the same shit every year, whatever. I work really hard on my stuff. I have to go to work. I have to make a living. My dad's very old school. He makes you go to work. And in terms of being a villain, good guy, bad guy, whatever, I haven't even gone on social media this week because of that stuff there. I mean, there's some people that just don't understand certain aspects or certain events that went on even before Ryan and I got together, So, like I said, I think it was just a good, hard racing deal. Did I mean to do it? No. No one ever means to wreck anybody. Did he mean to wreck us both? If I how I look at it, he'd come down on me? No, we're all going for the same spot. I think this will blow over one day. Maybe it'll be like Sheridan. Maybe Ryan and I won't talk for a couple of years. I don't know, but this does not bother me. People talk crap about me all the time. I don't really care anymore. It doesn't bother me any.
That's awesome, JR, that you could just put it behind you. I think it's great. Adam's right, though. We've seen you mature, because this would have got you fired up and pissed off 10 years ago. And you're like, it's just part of the sport, and we're going to fix this car and go out and win another one. No, I think, if anything, we've shown your maturity in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of that's having kids, right? Having a family, and yeah, I've definitely calmed down and matured. I mean, like you guys say, 10 years ago, maybe even little less, I would have just looked like a total ass at getting out of the car, throwing stuff, like, who knows. But yeah, Daryl Timmerman standing in my trailer right away when I got out, and he said, you just stay here or there'll be repercussions. So I just sat there and just let it blow off, and yeah, I'm upset about it, guys, because it hurt my points a little bit, but it's not going to hurt our performance. I mean, we've been so strong this year. My relationship with McCall Enterprises is something I should never have walked away from a few years ago, because, man, we're fast and it feels great. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. Obviously it's more fun when you're winning, but this series is top notch. I mean, it's just unbelievable to be a part of, and you guys covering it is phenomenal also, because you can show replays and whatnot. So the replays are good, sometimes bad, because like you said, you get the 50-50 of everybody who say, he's an asshole or he's a good guy and he didn't mean to do it or whatever. But I mean, the sport's pumping, everybody's talking. That's all that matters.
No, it's definitely a good thing. JR, was there any part of you inside that car just after it happened that thought, maybe they won't put me to the back? Like, did you realize as it happened that you were going to the back?
Well, yeah. Guys, I'm sitting there thinking, hey, maybe they didn't see that, right? But I know the rules. The rules are, no matter what the outcome is, I see it that he came across my nose, but the rule is well written that, if a car comes off somebody's nose, right or wrong, you go to the back. So I was pretty upset, because I knew I opened the door for Kyle just to gain a whole whack of points on me. But what I'm going to ask for a little bit of clarity on is how far they put me back, because they put Ryan to the lead lap cars at the back and put me all the way to the very back. So, there's a couple points that could have been gained there, but hey, man, rules are rules. The easiest thing to avoid it would have been for me to just ride around half throttle and just stay behind them and avoid all this mess. But I got that fire, man, and it's tough when I have such a good car, and I knew I could have won that race. And hey, it's over. I'm moving on. I'm moving forward. I already got the car fixed. I'm already looking forward to going sunset.
Which of the 3 are you dreading, JR? With the points on the line, you got 3 races ahead. Which one scares you the most?
No, I mean, I'm comfortable everywhere. I mean, we were really good at sunset when we were there at the beginning of the year. We started our air pressures a little too high. So it hurt us a little bit, but we've been fast everywhere. I mean, this is, like I said, it's just a great feeling having a great car everywhere we go. And everybody that works on it, from McCall Enterprises, that really are involved in the setup stuff, it's just like taking a bunch of weight off my shoulders, man. The car's been phenomenal. And I've watched all the races. Like Adam said last year, like, our problem has been longevity. I mean, we could go lay it down in practice, get the pole, be wicked fast 50 laps, but in the races, it's hard to keep the car underneath you. And man, this car's been a privilege to drive. And I feel great going to all these tracks. I wish I could go test, but with our new testing rule, I only have 1 test left in my bank. So I'm going to save that for the last Delaware, just to make sure that we're prepared. Because I do think it's going to come down to 22 and us, and he's really good at Delaware because he races there weekly. So, and I won an eventful one there already this year, but I was the second best car that night. So we got a little bit of work to do, and maybe I should change the wrap on my car so that people don't know it's me coming.
They're gonna know it's you. They're gonna know. JR, thanks for hanging with us, and thanks for the explanation. That's what we try to do, right, Clinton? We've after 25 years of doing this, it took us a while to learn, but as long as you show every side, give this side a chance, that side a chance, we're presenting the story, and we appreciate that you generally always answer the call when we invite you.
No problem. Thanks, guys, and appreciate everything you do. And yeah, like you said, there's his story, and then the right story. So, hey, just keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, JR. We appreciate you being with us.
Thanks, guys.
JR Fitzpatrick, everybody. How cool is that, Adam, that we can reach out to this top series, get both guys on both sides of a crappy deal, and both come in, be respectful, tell their side, and both excited to get back to the track. It's an awesome deal. And so glad we can provide the coverage here on G-Force.
All the stories made sense, Clint. Right? Like, Ryan didn't say anything that didn't add up to me. JR didn't say anything that didn't add up to me. And same with Josh Dottie, right? And sometimes that's how it goes with short track racing. So I think this is a case where the officials got it right. The drivers did what they did. They all understand what went down.
Absolutely.
So that's that. Now,
just
you and I might be out of work soon. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I heard. I was going to say that we're just about ready to bring on Jennifer Hatch, who is, I think, the newest announcer into the fold, and that's why we're out of work.
That's right.
Welcome, Jennifer.
That's right.
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
It was a very fun weekend.
So, Jennifer Hatch, you made your announcing debut at Humberstone with the Legend Series, and you got to work with the illustrious Travis Cunningham. So talk about it. How'd you enjoy it?
Well, the whole thing came down way too quickly. So just, I always helps with those guys for sure. And so it might be in lineup or just helping guys get in their cars or whatever it is, and organizing the boys pretty much. And what happened was just walking with Blake Outhouse, who is the promoter for the Great Lakes Legend Series. And he's like, hey, we don't have an announcer tonight. What do you think? And I was like, never have announced before, but I got your back.
Wow.
There you go. So throwing right into it. I think that's how Adam got started too. I met him at Oshweekend. He was a writer, and I'm like, we need an announcer. He's like, oh, I'm a writer. I'm like, well, next week you're an announcer.
Well, the terrible thing about the whole thing was I know all those guys, and I know a lot of their history, and I know what car they're running and what number they're running. And so I wasn't having a full-on panic attack until I realized we were having the celebrity race. So we had like Tony Spiteri, we had Graydon Dunn from Stickers and Scuffs, we had Trayton Lapsevich, we had Mike Herniak, Alan Arsenault, and I'm like, oh crap, like I don't know anything. Like I knew little bits about them all, but not like real deep history if there was a caution, you know? So I was like, oh my God. So I quickly ran around with my pen and pencil, pen and paper, and I was like, give me just a couple quick little like background stuff on you guys if I have to like introduce you or whatever. And I ended up having to announce 4 races and the feature. So that was fun.
That's awesome. Jennifer, if you say it as though you believe it,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be true. Like you move on to the next sentence really quick. So as long as you're speaking confidently, I mean, Clinton wears dresses on Tuesdays, whatever. I don't care that he does it, but that's his look. And then you move on to the next thought. You look back, what the hell did he just say? Whatever.
Oh, well, my big concern was dropping a swear word. That was my big concern. I didn't do that, so that was good.
With Travis Cunningham, that's inevitable.
Well, so Travis threw me under the bus because I get up there and I start talking, and Travis is like, "Okay, I'm gonna sneak out and use the bathroom." I'm like, "What? No, don't leave me here. I don't know anything here." But anyways, we worked. It worked. It was good. And I had so many people come up after and go, "You did a great job. It was nice to hear a lady's voice and get the ground." Because, fill in stuff like what motors they have and all that kind of stuff. So I think I did okay.
So are we giving up houses and picking up a new career, Jennifer?
Well, I kind of already did. I don't know. It's kind of a funny story, but I ended up buying because real estate was really slow and I do not get bored well. Like I don't sit still well. So I bought a hot dog cart. And of course, my family all voted on calling it the Wiener Wagon. I did.
Clint, isn't that what they called you in college?
The Wiener Wagon?
Not in college. But anyways, I overrode that.
Let's think of all the rumors you're starting about me. I wear dresses. I call myself the Wiener Wagon. Awesome.
So that's so cool. So what did you wind up calling it?
I ended up going with Hot Diggity Dogs. It's much more PG.
Yeah.
I think.
If you have to go that way.
It's more boring, but it's more PG. And then, of course, all hell broke loose in real estate. So now I'm super swamped in real estate and still selling wieners.
Jennifer, the jokes write themselves.
That's what she said.
The jokes literally write themselves.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, if you guys ever need to fill in, I'm available.
Absolutely.
No, seriously though, Jen, is it something you want to do more? Something you would want to develop into a bit of a skill set, or just, hey, if you need me, I'm here, guys, but I don't really want to be doing it?
No, actually, I had a ton of fun, and I did better than I thought I was going to do with actually calling the race. That's, that was a little bit scary, like trying to call the race. And then, of course, Kenny was racing. And doesn't he do a full 360 spin right in front of another car? If they didn't touch, they both don't think they did, but if they didn't, they were very close. And so I'm trying to announce the race, and then he spins right in front of another car, and I think I caught my breath. Like I was like, it'd be like, Connor having a big wreck while you're trying to announce the race, right?
I've been there.
And so I was like, I kind of caught my breath, and I was like, I didn't really know it. And I was like, oh, wow, that was a fantastic recovery. He only lost one spot, didn't stall the car. That's really hard to do in these legend cars. And then I was like, he won't be happy with that. So we're going to have to watch that 15 car try and move back to the front, because we all know Kenny's spicy Mexican. And so I knew that he'd be really trying to get to the front. And I was like, I only know all this because I live with him. So it's kind of funny.
There you go.
You go with what works. So that's, and Clinton, you must know that. That's my secret. Instead of having to turn back and call what just happened, if you can set up for what's about to happen, you don't have to speculate. You just say, watch him. He's pissed off. You're really going to enjoy what's about to happen. And then hands off, watch it go down.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing.
Talk about Wednesday night.
What was that? Wednesday night?
Yep. Sauble Speedway.
Oh, well, we came to help. So I did not bring my car. The legends weren't there. So we came up to help Haley's boyfriend, Jimmy. And then, of course, Kenny's brother, Alvin, was there. And before you knew it, that went terribly wrong in a big way. So Alvin is fine. He, scared the crap out of all of us, obviously. The car is, I would consider, pretty much a write-off, unfortunately, but that's racing.
Took out, 6 fence posts along the back straightaway?
Well, if you're going to do it, do it.
That's right.
Kind of the model around here. And much like your model, Kenny's model is walk into a room like you're supposed to be there. Nobody will question that you're not, which is what got us kicked out of the LA Coliseum this January.
Hey, you got to try.
Yep, exactly. They did find us. They did chase us out of the garage. We weren't supposed to be there.
It's the first thing Adam taught me in racing. Act like you're supposed to be there.
That's right.
Jen, it's been good to have you. We appreciate you coming in. Anything else the fans need to know about you? When are you going to be announcing next?
Well, potentially, if we don't have an announcer for the Great Lakes Legend Series, they're off to Full Throttle Barney on the 13th, so I might end up into that situation again, which would be fine. I'm back racing this Saturday at Sawville Speedway along with the kids. Zach junked his car by hitting his sister, so it was a great weekend.
Ooh, family fun.
Yeah, but they're out in the shop still working tonight, and I'm sure it'll be back together. So we're all off to Sawville on Saturday, and then you might see me doing a little bit of announcing at Full Throttle, possibly.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that, Jen. Thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your announcing debut.
Thanks, guys. Wasn't planned, but we always make the best of everything.
Neither was I.
Thanks, Jen.
Okay, thanks, guys.
One of the newest ones in the fraternity or sorority,
and so
whatever it is.
So to give people the rundown on Jennifer Hatch, a longtime racer, a longtime sponsor of a lot of different race teams, and now an announcer. So good for her. And the sport needs new voices, Clint. Like you and I have talked, and well, I've said it more, but there's way too much of our voice out there.
For sure, we would love to get some more help. I just want to make a quick program note here on G-Force to be no light broadcast following tonight. Merrittville from Saturday will air tomorrow night, and the rest from the weekend we'll try and get out as fast as we can. We have a bit of a backlog on the G-Force light side of things. Spencer's a little bit under the weather today, so we're going to give him a chance to rest up, and he won't be able to cut anything tonight. So that'll be all for the light broadcast, at least for tonight. There won't be one. It'll be up tomorrow. I'll bring it up to speed and all that. Adam, some other news that came in, and we have a lot to discuss. We're not going to get today. We've got about 5 minutes left, but I just got news from Gary Calling that they have canceled the Grisdale Triple Crown race for this weekend due to a tire shortage. What do you know about that? You're close to the situation there. I'm not sure if you knew or heard any news, but what do you know?
Yeah, we had some great comments tonight in the show that we weren't able to get to. Reason being, Spencer's under the weather, so it's just been a matter of flipping cameras on and off. But some of the comments were well received. Yeah, tire shortage is real. Clinton, we went around at Sawville to talk to the teams about the tires. Everyone that I talked to was content Saturday about the tire situation. So that's a good thing. The Grisdale Triple Crown, a series they support at Flamborough Speedway, but they're contractually obligated to APC. So if there is any kind of shortage, they got to shut down what they can shut down, and that was one of the events. So I don't have any inside information. I just know that I'm sure they are hedging their bets to try to have what they need for the remaining 3 APC shows.
Yeah, it's rough. This is the first time we've really seen a track around here have to cancel a big show because of it. We'll try and get you more of that story as we get further into the deal and into next week. Of course, for us, we'll be live back at Oshweekend this Friday. That's our only live broadcast this weekend, so that's kind of cool for us to get a bit of a rest. And we have all kinds of other stuff going on, of course. Yeah. Just want to mention, someone was asking SRX earlier in the comments, talking about the SRX series, talking about going somewhere outside the USA. We have not spoken to them from the Oshweekend side. I still have a hard time believing the TV crew and all them would make it across the border into Canada as it sits right now anyway. So that's a long shot. But we are pumped up for the Pinty's race coming up 2 weeks from today. It's been almost 3 years in the works. I can't believe we are 14 days away from the Pinty's 100 tonight. Going to be crazy.
I think it's going to be a big spectacle. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be some stock car fans who have never seen sprint cars before. I think there's going to be some sprint car fans who have never seen the NASCAR Pinty series before. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, my message to you is if there's any way you can camp with us, make sure you do. We're going to have a good party both nights and lots of entertainment, lots of stuff going on throughout the days and in the evenings to keep you entertained and hopefully get you up close and immersed with the NASCAR Pinty Series teams and the sprint car teams. Some unique qualifying format for Tuesday for the sprint cars, which is going to be interesting to really speed up the show. And we'll bring you all that news next week. But we're about 2 minutes to go in this show. It's been a great deal. If you haven't got tickets yet, npsondirt.com. We'll get you all the tickets you need for the upcoming Oshweekend show. And, of course, we'll be live this Friday. What else we got?
We had a couple other topics that we were going to chat about. I know I sent a bunch of things to the chat, and I can't remember a damn one of them now. So Not a big
Well,
deal.
we'll cue them up for
but
next week and come
Yeah.
back to it.
most of the topics we do talk about have some legs to them, so they can be talked about later. Let's talk about Ush Weekend from Friday night. What a night of racing. Late models, Thunderstocks, and 360 sprints. And they were all phenomenal races. Like, just really good races.
Yeah, coming down to the checkered flag type wins. You know, Ryan Beagle coming around Bailey at the line for the finish. That's something that gets the fans on their feet for sure. Late models put on a great show. We've seen them have some rough ones, but what a great race it was for them. Liam Martin grabbed another win on the year in the 360s, and it's just been great. I mean, if you've not checked out the competition or racing at Ush Weekend, you definitely should. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been a great show. There's been a lot of good racing this year, Clinton. We've seen some great crowds. Congratulations to Sauble Speedway, Paul Grezel, Jeff Cassidy, their families, John Carley. They packed the place on Saturday night. 24 APC late models. Like, thumbs up to that. Thumbs up to Ush Weekend, the crowds and the car counts they're getting. Thumbs up to Flamborough Speedway that had a big crowd on Saturday for Kids Ride Night and thrilled a bunch of kids by being able to ride around the speedway for a lap or two with their favorite race car driver. Like, there's cool things going on all over the place, and I think we need to salute them. And Delaware had a huge crowd Friday night.
If your place is booming, awesome. If it's not booming, get out and drag some more people out to your local racetrack. We all need the help we can get, so get out there and check it out. Mike just asked, when are two-seaters going on track? Two-seaters come out this week. All been rebuilt. The two-seater sprint cars will be ready to go this Friday. If you're looking for a ride, give us a call. We'll work it out. But excited to get that back. Spencer, I hope you feel better. And we'll see everybody live Friday from Ush Weekend this week, our one live show here on G-Force TV. I want to thank everybody at Hills Video for letting us host the show here tonight.
Watch for Dirt Modified Racing on TSN. The announcing is a little suspect, but watch for Dirt Modified Racing on TSN.
Yeah, we just cut, 4 shows for TSN?
Yeah.
So lots of modified and sports and racing coming up. Excited to get our favorite portion of dirt racing on to the main channel. So thank you for everybody for joining us. Thanks everybody for coming up and saying hi to us. It's just amazing to get the response. Let us know you're watching. We get more and more people every week, and we appreciate that.
My favorite line, I think, so far this year. You're a lot bigger than you sound.
There you go.
That's what Tyler had to say to me Saturday. So, wasn't a compliment by any stretch. It was just a funny observation. I thought that's fabulous.
Right on. Thanks everybody for being with us. We'll see you next week.